all the other, alcohol, alternative girlfriend, just to start some of the A's. Yeah, conventioneers.
Well, what do you guys think about the albums that have come after this?
We've listened to, what is it, the
Silver Ball?
Silver
Ball comes after this. That didn't do well. Fake Nudes has been sort of a recovery for them. They've done better with Fake Nudes than they did with Silver Ball.
So even you guys, you like that? Is that their return to form?
Fake Nudes is probably like a rebound from Silver Ball, in my opinion, back to probably about this level. But I wouldn't say it's like
so not any better
full recovery back to old form.
We're foolish enough to still be pulling for a Stephen Page and BNL reunion, but we know that's not likely to happen.
Yeah, guys, honestly, not until I was, we decided that we would do our little crossover here that I was like, let me see what they've been up to lately. Wait, that guy's not in the band anymore? He's like the guy.
Yeah, no.
He's one of the guys.
And his last album was absolutely amazing. Michelle and I
He's the bare naked lady.
Yes.
So I want to say that. I will go ahead,
to
Michelle,
me, well, I was going to veer off into a subject about Steven, but really to me, and I'm an old school fan, like I haven't even listened to, the only new stuff I've listened to is because of this podcast, but and I'm admitting that, I'm saying it out loud. But to me,
we are recording,
We are recording. This is going to be, I'm outing myself. To me, the magic of the Bare Naked Ladies is when Steven and Ed do their thing. And Steven spills his messy guts. And
it's so funny you mentioned that.
Yes,
what I was about to say was I was going to make a comparison to Pink Floyd. Now, there are some people who are very much like in the Fish fan hippie category who love early Piper at the Gates of Dawn, Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd. But for me, Pink Floyd will always be like basically, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, Wish You Were Here. That's the golden era for me. And then it started to veer off, like with The Wall. Roger Waters started to be more of a control freak, and then there was like the Final Cut, which is practically a Roger Waters solo album. And then they split. And Roger Waters has made some really good music, and Pink Floyd made some really good music without Roger Waters. I like Division Bell. There's some really good stuff on there. But they never, to me, alone could have reached the height of their powers together. And when they bounced off each other, Roger Waters had that really edgy, just nonconformist, angry attitude, and the really, really the interesting contrast between like the ferocity of the lyrics and sometimes the sensitivity of the music. And then David Gilmour has this wonderful blues sensibility and amazing ability to make the guitar sing and be very melodic and tasteful. And just when they combine together, there's nothing like it, and you never get quite to the same again. So it's always sad for me to see a band that I think works better together end up splitting, even if I'm sure. If they're happier apart, like with parents in a divorce, maybe it's good for everybody. It's better for everybody. But it's sad that you saw the golden time and you wish you could return to it.
You still need therapy about it.
Mom and Dad are fighting again.
I'm sure you guys have touched on this in other episodes, and I just haven't listened to them all.
How dare you?
Was it any result of his? I know, right? Didn't he have like a alcohol problem?
He had a cocaine problem.
Oh,
something
God.
He had many different things problems.
He's got a lot of things going on.
Those funny men and their cocaine.
Usually I mention something in every episode.
It does relate to it because they were having an image problem. They were just doing some children's albums around the time where he was busted for coke.
Yeah, he did get caught 3 days before they were supposed to go to Disney and play. Like that.
Bad timing, definitely.
With a pile of cocaine
like
on
Scarface,
the table
right?
with a young woman who was not his wife.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that
That's
was really bad timing. And we love
not a band you expect
he's with her today still, so...
They're married.
They're married.
Oh, the woman that...
he was married to somebody else when he was doing cocaine.
He was married to Carolyn at the time, though.
Yes.
Not a good look.
The mother of his children.
No.
But if you listen to every single song of his from the beginning of time up until then, it's all there. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Here's what
it's
I think.
I love you, Stephen Page. We know you're
Please
listening.
come on the
Please
show.
come on and talk to me about this. Okay.
Please come on again.
Yes.
So here's what I think the problem is with this album, and I think that it happens with many of the albums afterwards. I actually really enjoyed their album after Steven left. There were a lot of really good songs on that. And I think that bands make their best music and artists make their best music when there is angst, when there is bitterness, when there are feelings that are driving them. And happiness
they need to process.
Is not one that drives really good music. And after their album before this one, they recovered. And this is their recovery album. This is their album where they're feeling happier, they're feeling better. They've basically hit acceptance level in their grief process. It's, for the most part, a happy album, and it's hard with other songs that are on here, like Crawl and Boomerang, to sound angsty when you're not feeling
that's kind of my
angsty.
theory, is that too much success is really bad for art. Because I think the best art comes out of processing. You know, for me at least, I know it's been very therapeutic to have music, to write a song or something if I need to process negative emotions. One of my favorite moments in my life is my mom recorded with like one of those old camcorders, you know what I mean, back this was like early 2000s. One of my first concerts ever at the music hall at UMA, where I went to college. And I hear her it's a little bit of background on me. I have a band called The Second Child. Very, very dark. It was my way of dealing, again, with my negative emotions, right? So I had a song where I had this really kind of dark, depressing guitar riff, and then I brought out this Fisher-Price record player, and I put on the Bambi record by Disney, and I put my finger on the record to slow it down so it sounded really weird and demonic. And around this point, I hear my mom lean over to my sister who's sitting next to her and go, "Aaron's music is so dark."
That was after Bambi's mom.
It was very dark.
Tracy's been there. He's heard my stuff.
I own the album. I love the album. I don't play it with my kids in the car, but I do love the album.
I appreciate it.
It's hard to play Long, Slow Elevator Ride to Hell with your kids in the car. I think I got the name of that.
The long,
right.
monotonous elevator ride to hell.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
There you go. Nice.
I always have to mess up
But
something.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being jaded.
This song is really positive.
That's a good thing overall, right? Like,
I'm going to teach you not to believe in me. Like, I have these dreams. I believe in myself. I'm going to go for what I want. And I'm going to teach you to not believe in me. You're going to have it coming to you kind of in a positive way to not believe in me. You'll see soon that you were wrong. But not in a like, ha-ha kind of like way, but in a like, it's all right, you'll figure it out someday kind of thing. And I'm like, I can't really connect with you on that.
Well, so here's my biggest problem, I think. Yeah, you guys know I'm all over the map, musically speaking. Are you guys familiar with the hip-hop artist Lupe Fiasco? Lupe Fiasco.
Oh, yeah. Kick Push is one of my favorites.
He did a song called Daydreamin as well. And it samples an amazing song that I absolutely love called Daydreamin' Blue by iMonster. And it has wonderful, fantastic backing vocals by Jill Scott. And it's a beautiful song. And if I'm hearing a song called Daydream and it's not really doing it for me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'd rather be listening to Daydream.
Where's Jill Scott? Yeah.
Well, this song, the whole time I was listening to it, I'm like, if you're going to go on this theme, a much better version of a song that's on this theme is the Philosophy song by Ben Folds 5. Like, that whole, like, you know what? You don't believe in me? But because there's a little bit of angst, a little bit of anger behind that, like, you didn't believe in me, and you can hear it in its keyboards. It's a keyboard-driven song.
Interesting comparison.
But there's Ben Folds. Little bit of anger in there, and that gets you to feel emotions, and I don't feel emotions with this song. I think that's one of the things that is missing for me.
Can't chillaxin be an emotion, man? Just chillaxin over here.
It can be. It just isn't going to.
Maybe the gift of this song is that you don't
Greg,
have
geographically,
to feel
where are you
anything.
located? I can't recall. I'm sorry.
I am in Lafayette, Indiana. I grew up in Chicago, though. I'm only a few hours away from Chicago, hour north of Indianapolis. I am. I've lived in Indiana almost as long.
So I was going to guess, are you like on the West Coast or something? Because West Coast peeps tend to be a little more chilled out. But maybe I don't know about the Midwest. Maybe they're more chilled out. We East Coasters are way uptight. We're super angry all the time. Anyone who's in front of us is not in front of us. They're in our way. So like we're very much passive aggressive. Yeah, exactly.
I'm driving here.
Exactly.
We're a little bit less than Boston, but it's up there.
My sister lives in Watertown in.
So I don't know. Maybe you're just a little more in touch with your chill side than we are, but
I don't know. Like I said, I'm a music teacher, so I'm doing music all day long, and I teach a lot of. I try to make the music, stuff of substance. There's so much kids' music out there that sucks. But like with my kindergartners, I'm doing all this old folk stuff like Ella Jenkins and Pete Seeger and
very cool.
My first graders, I'm actually prepping for They Might Be Giants.
Man, I would have loved having you as a music
teacher.
And I'm doing these folk dances, these old New England folk dances with my second and third graders and playing my accordion a lot. So I'm like making music of all kinds like all day, and sometimes like a lot of times on the way home I'll listen to podcasts. I mean, they can be about music, but I'd almost rather just listen to like some grown-ups talk about something than like
I totally get that.
Kids flapping their gums at me or like singing cheery kid songs. So it's kind of nice. So this song kind of played in the same way where it's kind of like this is not a song like if I put this on for kids they'd be like come on But for me, I was just like, this hits the spot right now. So
building off that idea, Greg, I played this in the car a couple of times this week with my kids in the car because I was, that's where I do most of my driving. And my son's response was that he thought this was a kid's song. He was actually kind of like, so when do I give my opinion about this song? I'm like,
oh my gosh,
this isn't
hilarious.
on the kids' album, buddy. He's like, but this is a kid's song. He's like, I give it an 8.5 out of 10, and it would be higher if the singer wasn't saying "dang
dreaming"
because he thought that the singer was swearing.
Diddly dang dreaming here
on the kids' album,
That's adorable.
And his response was, when I told him it was no, buddy, it's daydreaming. He's like, well, that should be clearer. They should re-record that.
You want to leave room for misinterpretation there. So
that's hilarious.
That makes me ask you, is it just me, or did Jim do something with his voice? It sounds very electronic. It sounds like he's using that, what do they call it?
Auto-tune?
Auto-recorder? Auto-tune? Is he auto-tuning his voice in this song?
There might be some auto-tune there. I think it's more just like
vibe.
Processing. They kind of make it a little... You can do that with EQ. You can make it kind of float a little bit above the mid-range of the guitars and stuff and make it a little more ethereal. What do you think, Greg?
I mean, it could be... I think it could be even though it's a pretty gentle vocal, it could be compressed a bunch so that the dynamic range is very consistent. It brings the peaks down and raises the softer parts. So it's just like very. I mean, monotone wouldn't be the right word. Monodynamic, I suppose.
Homogeneous.
Just very, very, right. And I mean, this is the issue with like a lot of big budget records. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with
the loudness wars. We talked about that last week with Susan, actually.
Now, okay, all right. So obviously, this song is not trying to win the loudness wars, but even a soft song. My friend was telling me about. Some like new metal band did a cover of the Sounds
Disturbed did
Sounds
that,
of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, and he's like, it was the most aggressive acoustic guitar vocal song I've ever heard.
And the people vowed and prayed.
Right, but he was even saying from a production standpoint, like a guy is strumming an acoustic guitar, but then you just like smash it so that like, you'd think like, it's nice and chill, but then like if you drop the MP3 into like your recording software, the waveform, like it's an acoustic guitar, but it's like, it's just like no peaks or valleys, just like, and I don't think this song is guilty of that, but as far as like compressing it, like synths, especially analog synths, are pretty naturally compressed. You don't have to put compressors on synthesizers. It's a very kind of flat tone as it is. Drum machines, same thing. You don't need to worry about that. I mean, recording real drums, you're putting compressors on like everything, but everything's already got this kind of chill, like electronic, robotic kind of just very controlled, compressed sound. And so maybe they did the same thing to the vocals and just kind of smashed them into this little robot thing without making them sound like a robot exactly. Though there are plugins called Bit Crushers where you can get that kind of chip tune. Have you ever played with that? Those kind of plugins,
I have not.
bit crushers.
No.
I mean, I could send you my track for this podcast.